Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Thanks for checking it out, and we're going to be looking at another question today. And today's question is, what was Jesus' message regarding adultery? So, throughout this video, we're going to go through 5 points that Jesus Christ hammered on during his preaching about adultery. The first is the simplest, and that is simply, adultery is prohibited by God, as Jesus Christ said in Matthew chapter 19 verses 5 and 6, which you can see on the screen right now. Okay, so that was plain and simple, and let's move on to point number 2. And that is that Jesus Christ told us that if a woman divorces a man and then marries someone else, that's also considered adultery. He said this in Matthew 19:9, where it says, "Whosoever shall put away his wife, except it be for fornication, and shall marry another, committeth adultery. And whoso marrieth her which is put away, doth commit adultery." This is adultery because what makes a marriage is the intercourse. We know this because God instructed in Exodus 22:16 that if a man sleeps with an unmarried woman, he must officially marry her. This is to ensure that the woman doesn't later go sleep with someone else and then marry that person, thinking that she's single, when in reality, she's already married. We can actually see how this played out in 2 Samuel chapter 20 verse 3 and chapter 16 verse 22, when Absalom slept with all the wives and concubines of his father, King David, which is really disgusting. But anyway, when David came back to the kingdom, he put them all in a different house and never slept with them again. Why? Well, it's spelled out clearly in Deuteronomy chapter 24 verse 4. The marriage was entirely broken due to what Absalom did, as I said previously, intercourse is what makes a marriage. So after Absalom slept with those women, David's marriage with them was entirely broken. But it's not just physically sleeping with someone that's a problem, but also even if we lust after a person, that's of course not our spouse, that also counts as adultery. The reason for this is that if we ever get the actual opportunity to carry out that sin, we will. And of course, this causes a problem because our hearts and minds being righteous before God is the spiritual worship that God is looking for, as said in John 4:24 and Matthew 5:48. So if our heart isn't right and perfect before God, as Jesus Christ said it should be, then we've already sinned, even before we've actually done anything. Now, these are 3 very important points that we've already gone over, but the 4th is to the men specifically out there, and that is, if you kick your wife out of your house and they end up sleeping with someone else, you've already committed adultery along with your wife. And I know this sounds crazy, but let me explain. The reason is that in 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 7, women were said to be made on average, weaker level than their male counterparts. Their level of spiritual knowledge and discipline is also included in that. And to dispel any doubts about what I just said, let's just read the verse together to, be on the same page. "Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered." And now, when we take this verse and connect it to Genesis chapter 2 verse 18, as a man, you're now pushing your wife to be more vulnerable to sin. And God does not like that at all. Paul told us in Romans chapter 14 verse 15 that every action we take should never be detrimental to the spirituality of those around us. He said, "But if thy brother," this could be a man or a woman, "be grieved with thy meat, now walkest thou not charitably. Destroy not him with thy meat, for whom Christ died." So that is the 4th point, also pretty important. But the final message that Jesus Christ had for us about adultery, he wasn't exactly that direct with this one as he was with the others. And as we've seen, we know that adultery is to sleep with someone who is not exactly your spouse. But we can connect this concept to our worship of God. God, on many occasions, like in Jeremiah 3, told Israel that they were committing adultery by serving other gods. So that also applied to us in our own time. If we have any sort of priority above Jehovah that we dedicate our time and all of our thoughts to, then we've also committed adultery, spiritual adultery. Jesus Christ said that we can't serve God and another God that we've elevated up to his level or above him at the same time in Matthew 6:24. And that verse says, "No man can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or else he will hold to the one and despise the other. Ye cannot serve God and mammon." It requires a lot of self-reflection to find out if we ourselves are committing spiritual adultery. And it's that reflection that we should be doing to make sure that we can put a stop to any form of adultery as fast as possible, so it doesn't get worse and become an even bigger problem to fix in the future. And so that is the end of this video on Jesus' message regarding adultery. The points are on screen right now as well, the things we talked about today. So if you like this kind of content and you want to see more of it, like you want it to show up in your feed and such like, you can always subscribe to give YouTube that push, and also to support my channel, you can click the like button and also hit that notification bell so you also know that when I post a new video. Have a great day, everyone, and I'd love to see all of you in the next video I post.